Hello guys and welcome. I was going to do the whole welcome back to my YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube, like this is my YouTube channel, but I don't do like loads of videos. But if you don't know me, I am Paige. I run the Instagram page. It's okay.need2talk. So if you want to go and check it out, it's at it's okay.need2talk on Instagram. And yeah, I run that page. I have been doing for about 2.5 months, and it's literally the best thing I've ever set up. I've come on here today. I've got my blanket because that's a bit of a comfort thing for me. Even when I was at school, I had terrible anxiety at school. I used to put my blazer over me as like a blanket because I feel like if you have a blanket, you're safe. I don't know. I do it anywhere I'm anxious. On planes, I always have either a blanket or like my oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Or like my jumper or anything over me. It's like a comfort thing for me. So here I am with my blanket. Today I'm going to be talking about mental health in general. I'm going to be speaking about PTSD, OCD, anxiety, depression, a little bit on eating disorders, and yeah, we'll see how we go. I haven't really planned exactly what to say because I normally just speak from the heart and just see what comes out basically. So I myself have PTSD. I have PTSD from a number of traumatic events in my life. When I was younger, my childhood was quite what's the word? Traumatic, I would say. And there was a lot of events that happened before I was born that then sort of came into my life at a young age. There was a lot of hurt, there was a lot of suffering around my family, and I was born into that. And I think from a very young age I picked up on that, and I think that started my anxiety journey at a very young age. Also when I was young, like toddler and stuff, more events sort of came to light, and it was I mean one day I'll probably go properly into it all, but there's a lot of other people involved that's not just me, so obviously I would need to speak to them and make sure that they're okay with me speaking about it so publicly. So when I was I think the proper first signs came through OCD for me. So when I was about 5, I used to wash my hands so much that I had no skin. On the backs of both these hands was literally red raw and bleeding. And I think everyone sort of thought, you know, it's just one of her little kooks, it's just one of her little things, she'll grow out of it. And then I started doing this blinking thing, where I'd like constantly blink, but I had to, in my head, I had to do it 36 times. Otherwise something would happen to my mum. So I'd be there like blinking away, and people would be looking at me like, they thought I had like a twitch, but it wasn't. It was me doing it on purpose because I thought if I didn't do it, something would happen to my mum. Anyway, sorry I yawned so much. I think it's the medication that I'm on, which I'll go into a bit later. So anyway, yeah, so that was how it first started. Then I got really funny about eating when I was about, again, probably about 5 or 6. My mum married again. I was younger than that actually. My mum married again, and we moved in to a lovely big house, and seemed like she was maybe going to have like a happy ever after maybe with this guy or whatever. But in this time, in this time where things I think had maybe calmed down a little bit, like day-to-day life was, you know, fairly normal, it seemed to just make me worse. I used to like control my feelings and control what I couldn't control with eating, and that was if I felt anxious, or if I felt that I wasn't in control, or if I felt that I couldn't change things going around me, which I couldn't. I'm so sorry if you're catching all these yawns. Yeah, if I felt like I couldn't control something, I would control it by not eating. So that was at a very young age. I used to like hide my food in my mouth and go and spit it in the toilet and things like that. I never used to eat my lunch at school. Sometimes if I was like about to faint, I would take like a little bit of my bread roll. This was in like year 1. I'd take a little bit of my bread roll, go in the cloakroom of my class, hide under my coat and eat it. And my teachers sort of realised that that's what I was doing, and they'd actually just let me do it because I was so thin. They thought, and they'd all sort of like pretend that they hadn't seen. And my mum, they would tell my mum. So yeah, I would eat that. I would also hide food around my plate, which obviously when my mum took my plate, it was just a circle of food. But anyway, that happened when I was young. So from quite early, from quite early, it sort of came to light that I was suffering with mental health issues. As I got older and I went to school, my OCD thoughts become more sinister. They become more, only way I can describe it is disturbing, really. I used to go to school, and although my mum had dropped me at school, I would think that I had walked on my own to school and that I had been sexually abused on my way to school and that I was pregnant. You know, my mum walked me to school, but in my head I was so sure that that had happened. And it was just situations like that all the time. I couldn't make myself a drink because I'd think that I'd put poison in it. I couldn't make anyone else drink, definitely not. I couldn't, so if my mum went out for the day, I wouldn't drink or eat, like, even if I was so thirsty, because in my head I couldn't deal with the fact that I couldn't, like, see what was real and what was not real. And to be honest, that still affects me to today. I do still struggle with that, quite a bit, sort of knowing what's reality and what's not. And I just thought I was literally going mad, to be honest. I used to send letters, I used to fly letters down the stairs at my mum saying, oh, today I walked past Mr. blah blah from my school, and I think we might have had sex like while I walked past. Like, it was just all this stuff. I didn't even know what sex was. Like, I didn't get it. But in my head it was so real. And yeah, it was the weirdest thing. So OCD isn't just, oh, I need this in order, I need this in order. Yeah, I am a bit like that. Well, I am like that, but I think I'd be like that anyway. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist. But it's actually these intrusive thoughts, these obsessions with anything and everything. Like, I could hear like if I heard someone go, oh, you know, so sad, this poor woman like died of lung cancer, that like goes in my head, and then like an hour or two later I'll start thinking, oh my god, I was coughing yesterday, oh my god, actually, was I coughing blood? Oh, and it will literally go like that. Like, it just feels like I can't even explain it. So that's one thing, OCD. I'm on sertraline. I'm on 100 milligrams of sertraline, and I've only been on sertraline since December. And I must give it its sort of praise in that it has helped my OCD massively. I didn't go on sertraline for my OCD. My OCD I've just sort of learnt to just deal with. When it spikes up, just try and get through it. When it's not there, brilliant. Like, that's just what I've been trying to do for years. but it was only when I started taking sertraline, and then like a few weeks later I sort of noticed, oh my god, I haven't like gone through my phone to see my location at this time because I thought I was doing this. Like that's what it's like. It'd be like, well, you did this last Thursday, and I'll be like, oh my god, did I? Okay, let me try and prove, and I have to like prove it wrong. It's really weird. Anyway, well, it's not weird, it's normal. Loads of people have it, which I didn't know. So yeah, that's sort of the OCD side. I do also have PTSD. PTSD can show itself in a number of different ways. It can give you flashbacks. It can give you panic attacks. It can you can have sort of bad dreams. You can completely dissociate and depersonalize yourself, which is what I do. I feel no real connection or attachment to the world. I don't know who I am, where I am, what I am. When I have one of these sort of, don't know, when it sort of comes over me like that. But also, it can come about in depression. It can come about in all sorts of ways. PTSD is really hard to deal with, and it really is just an after effect of a trauma, basically, and it's really difficult to deal with. There are medications for PTSD. I'm on sertraline for PTSD. It did help my OCD as well, but I'm actually on it for PTSD. And what was I going to say? Counselling's great. Counselling can be so helpful. I would say with counsellors, it's about finding one that you gel with. It's about finding one that you sort of click with. Don't feel pressured to just go in there and open up about your whole life on the first day. If you don't feel comfortable, don't share it. When you're comfortable, you will share it. You don't want to come out of there and feel like you've pushed yourself to like say all this stuff, and actually you now just feel quite vulnerable and not like they are used to sort of giving things time and taking one step at a time. And you never know, you might go in there and you might feel completely comfortable and you might be like, yeah, blah, 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 and say it all, and that's excellent, that is brilliant. But also, don't feel bad if you go in there and you actually, on your first session, you come out being a bit like, well, that's not really what I thought it would be, or whatever. Also, don't be afraid to change counsellor. I've changed so many times, but you know what, it's about finding someone who you gel with and who you feel comfortable with. You're spilling your life out to this person at the end of the day, and just like anything else, we all, like, if you were going for a hairdresser, if you didn't like your hairdresser, you change them. They're different, they're all trained differently, they all work differently. There's different types of therapy. There's CBT, there's like a humanistic approach, there's millions of different types. So if you don't get on with one therapist, try and think, right, is it the therapist that I don't like, or the counsellor that I don't like, or is it their approach? Is it that CBT isn't for me? CBT is like very, right, you know, go away today and do this bit of homework and tell me how you feel and blah blah blah, and retraining your mind. But then there's other types of therapy that are just talk. Some counsellors hardly say anything. Some counsellors would ask you a tiny question and prompt you and try and get you to... There's all different types, and you've got to find the one that's best for you. CBT I really like, but we're all different. We are all different. I like someone to sort of as well, like, give me tips and hints and what to do, where to do. Some counsellors don't do that. Some counsellors believe that you've got to find it yourself, and it's all just what is best for you. I know my mum sees someone who, and my mum always like feels after she sees them like really like quite uplifted, and that she's got everything off her chest. And when my mum has an issue during the week, I know she says like, oh, I'll tell that to my counselling lady on Monday and we'll discuss it and talk it through. I love that. I think that's brilliant. And I think that's very important. One of the main reasons I set up my group was so people just, even if you don't suffer with mental health, you just have a place to come and like rant, because sometimes you just need to rant. Like sometimes you can't rant to your boyfriend, your sister, your whatever. Sometimes you just need someone maybe that you don't even know. To a lot of the people that follow me, they don't know me, so they can tell me that their husband's really getting on their nerves, or they're not finding motherhood as easy as they thought they would, or they feel bad because they've done this, done that, and you do just need to rant sometimes. Talking of which, if you're suffering with mental health issues, and if you watch my previous video, you'll see that I have suffered really badly, to a point that I was, fair to say, it was sort of touch and go whether I was going to stay in this world or not. And that's really hard to actually say. Like, that's really hard to like just come out with that. Like, I talk about it quite a lot, but yeah, that's like weird to think that I almost wasn't here. But with mental health, the main thing that I think is really important is to talk. Even if you can't talk, write, whatever, let someone know that you're suffering. I know to you it feels like, well, what's the point, they're not going to do anything, what's the point, they don't love me. Well, I don't want anyone getting all involved, getting all in my grill, you know, I don't want that. I can't explain the importance of someone knowing that you're suffering. There's so many people who suffer on their own, and unfortunately there's so many people that end their lives and their family didn't even have a clue. Like, and I have suicide in my family. If you watch my stories, my sister actually said that with suicide, and it's very true, and I've said it before myself, you feel like, and it's true because I've been there, you feel like everyone would be better without you. You feel like you're a burden, and you feel like you are a massive problem to everyone, and everyone's life would just be better if you're not here. And I can't stress to you enough how untrue that is. I can't explain to you the heartbreak and the upset of knowing that someone was sitting there planning their death, and they were on their own, and they thought that genuinely no one could help them, and they genuinely thought that the only way to end this suffering was to commit suicide. I can't explain the questions that go through your head, the guilt you feel because you wasn't there for them, and just the absolute unbearable sadness of being like, oh my god, they genuinely thought that I was better off without them. No one's better off without you. Everyone is better off with you in your life. I would 100 million % rather anyone in my family, any one of my friends, any one of my angels that watch me, I would 100% rather them say to me, come to me and be like, listen, I've got a gambling problem, I've got a drinking problem, I'm in debt, I've got this, I've got that, blah blah blah, like all these problems. I feel low, I feel horrible, I feel like you'd be better without me, I feel worthless, I feel disgusted in myself. I would so rather them come to me and tell me all that, and I go, do you know what, we're going to sort out every one of these problems. I don't care if I have to spend a year sorting out every one of these problems. We're going to write everything that's bothering you down, and we're going to cross off everything because we're going to solve it all. I would so much rather you say that, even if you're not even in the mood to even think yet, oh, you know, we'll sort it out or anything. Even if I could just sit with you and be with you and make sure that you don't hurt yourself, I tell you what, I would give anything for some of the people I know that have committed suicide to have come to me or come to their family or come to whoever and just said, do you know what, I'm really, really struggling and I can't deal with it. I want to leave this world. Can you take over for a bit? Guys, you don't understand how much how loved you are, and how, and whether you're not even if you're not close with your family or don't have close friends, okay, you being in this world is it makes it a better place. And I promise you that. People that you think you don't even have a big impact on, my old next door neighbour, literally, I loved her so much. Like, she was my like, I loved her to pieces. She's unfortunately recently died through illness, not through mental health. But I tell you what, the heaviness in my heart still now, because she's gone. And you wouldn't even think like your next door neighbour would be like, I tell you what, I feel like I've lost one of my closest family members. I dream about her all the time. I love her to pieces. I don't necessarily think she'd sit there and think, oh, Paige is going to be gutted when I go. You know, Paige is going to... I don't think she'd think that. You don't understand the massive effect you have. Look at Mike from Love Island. Looking at his Instagram, you know, you wouldn't have thought anything was wrong. And I think a lot of people sort of looked at Mike and thought, oh, he's got the perfect life. You know, he's good looking, he's this, he's that. He was obviously so sad inside that he's ended his life. That breaks my heart. The thought of Mike sitting there and being like, nah, do you know what, I can't do it anymore. That's it. And walking himself into the forest and whatever. It just breaks my heart. And I want to stop it. I want to stop suicide. That is what I want to do. My life goal is to prevent as many people as I can from committing suicide, because I've been in that position more than once in my past where I thought, nah, do you know what, this is it, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. And it's exhausting, and you feel, oh, it's awful. I know it is. But I also know that when you're like that, your brain lies to you a lot. And it's almost like, well, no, it is. Your brain's ill. Like, it's not thinking straight. The things it's telling you isn't right. And it's not, you please don't make any decisions on temporary emotions like that. Please don't end your life. Even if I am the only person that is saying this to you, and the only person you think is like reaching out to you, go onto my page and message me, because we will get through this together. I can't even tell. Oh, sorry, my phone's just come up saying that I've got less than 20%. But honestly, yeah, come and message me. I'm sorry, in this world, we are all a family, whether we want to admit that or not. We're all humans, we're all family. So I don't care whether I've known you 2 minutes or 20 years. I care about you, and you all make my life a better place. Do you know how lovely it is to wake up in the morning with you beautiful people's messages? Like, you're just incredible, and I wish you could all see yourself the way I see you. I know depression and panic is awful. I know it is. It's horrible. I know it is, but there is a way out. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and I promise you that things do get better. I've been in some of the worst positions in my life. I've been through horrible things that you literally sit there and think, no, this is never gonna get any better. This isn't gonna improve. I promise you it does. Take it from me. I didn't have the best start in life, I'm gonna be honest, and I think a lot of people knowing me growing up and knowing me when I was younger thought, oh, that poor girl, like, she's not gonna amount to much, you know, things she's been through, you know, blah blah blah. And actually, I'm doing all right. I just want to help people, and there's no shame in saying, do you know what, I'm struggling. Do you know what, I don't think I can do it. Do you know what, I thought I was stronger than I am. Listen, you are strong. You are strong. like, I know that a lot of, especially men that I speak to, think that having any sort of mental health issue is a failure. It is not in any way a failure. I promise you that. Every single successful person has had ups and downs. Everyone does. You can have the most perfect life, whatever a perfect life is, because I don't actually think there is one. You can have the most perfect life. There will be ups and downs. There is ups and downs in everyone's life. The Queen has ups and downs. She'll have a good day and her bad days. Beyonce, my absolute queen, will have bad days. I mean, I can't even imagine her having a bad day because she's just an absolute queen. But she will. Everyone has bad days. There is no, and just trying to fake it and be like, oh no, I don't have any bad days, and no, everything's fine. It's just not realistic, and I don't believe anyone has a perfect life all the time. I'm sorry. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Every relationship has its problems. Every family has its fallouts. Every person gets in a bit of debt at some point, or messes up with money at some point, or can't do things as quickly as they want to because of money. Everyone's like, literally no one has a perfect life. Like, seriously. So I just want to really put this message out there. I don't know how many people will see it, but if you could share this with anyone you think maybe needs to hear this today. Things will be okay again, I promise you. Don't listen to your brain, it's lying. Reach out to someone, whether it's your GP, whether it's me, whether it's your family, anyone. Send a text message. Even if you can't speak, send a text message, write a note. I'm struggling, I need help. You don't even have to say that you need help, just let them know that you're struggling, because if we don't know that you're hurting, we can't help you. There's nothing we can do if we don't know. It's so easy to hide your mental health as well. I think a lot of people think of depression as like, can't get out of bed and whatever, which it is sometimes. I have days where I can't get out of bed. But it's also putting on a nice little dress and going out clubbing for the evening. You can be completely depressed and still do that. Some people are higher functioning than others. Another thing I just want to come on to is panic and panic attacks. So I do have a lot of panic attacks, not as many as I used to. I am on propranolol for my panic attacks. However, I only started taking medication last July. I started taking propranolol in July, and I think sertraline in December. Before that, so I was 22. Before that, for the 17 years, like from when I was 5 to 22, I never took any medication. I never, ever, ever. I never wanted to. I always thought that it was masking your problems. I always thought that it wouldn't really help me. I always thought that it might make me feel worse. I'm not recommending medication here. I'm not a doctor. Your doctor will know what is best for you. But if you're thinking how I was thinking, that, oh, it doesn't solve anything, it just, it masks your problems. It actually, where I have PTSD, I could never think about what had happened. I could never come to terms with it. I could never think through and get to grips with my emotions about it. And I've still got a long way to go. I would be really interested in seeing a counsellor now. I haven't seen one in years, to talk through things, because my brain's a bit like a maze. Like, I can't even get in it sometimes. Like, I can't even trace back my emotions to where they're coming from, sort of thing. So I would be interested in seeing a counsellor now. But I think medication has helped me being able to talk about my feelings more, and being able to voice and literally being able to think about things. Like, I couldn't think about what had happened to me, or I just couldn't deal with it. Like, I was just shut off, and medication has almost sort of, I don't know, like, helped me with that. But with panic attacks, they are horrible. They make you feel like you're going to die. you feel like you're choking, you feel like you're never going to breathe normally again, you feel like your heart's going to explode, your heart is beating so fast you literally can't understand how it can race that fast. You feel dizzy, you might feel sick, you might feel faint, you shake, you can get like vision like problems. Panic attacks are horrible. I'm not going to sit here and say that they are in anything other than horrible, because they're horrible. You feel like you're dying. However, panic attacks can't kill you. They are uncomfortable, they are nasty, they make you feel like absolute crap, but they cannot kill you. You can't die from a panic attack. So as much as it feels like you're going to, and trust me, I know it feels like you're going to die, you always calm down. Your body can't stay in fight or flight like that for very long. It has to calm down. When you're panicking, your body sends all these sort of signals to your organs to tell them that there's danger, that they need to be on fight or flight. Your stomach actually stops working when you have a panic attack. Digestion just stops. That's why you can feel sick, because it's like working away, and then your body says no, actually no, like shut down. Your stomach will stop working, so it stops like grinding the food or whatever. That's why you can feel sick. Also, when you're panicking and you're breathing like that, you breathe out too much carbon dioxide. I know that sounds weird, because you think, oh, we only need oxygen's the main thing. We actually do need a certain amount of carbon dioxide, and that's what makes you feel faint, is breathing out too much. When I have a panic attack, I place my hands over my mouth like so, and I breathe in. Well, I either breathe in for 6 seconds, hold it for 6 seconds, and breathe out for 6 seconds, or I breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 8 seconds. So I'm going to breathe in for 6 seconds, hold it for 6 seconds, and breathe out for 6 seconds. If you do that maybe 10 times, that sends signals in your body to it literally tells the organs it's okay, we're calming down. Also, with the breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it, and breathing out for 8 seconds, it regulates your breathing again. You try and breathe in too much when you're panicking. That's the problem. You try and go all like this. You don't need to be doing that. When you're panicking, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And also when you're panicking, you try and breathe from your chest. You inflate your chest and you try and breathe from your chest. That's not the best way to breathe at all. In order to get the most oxygen, you should breathe with your stomach. So normally, day to day, that is how we breathe. But when we're panicking, we start to get all the shoulders and the chest involved, and we start all like this, and your body gets all tense and all this. We don't need to be doing that. Breathe purely with your stomach. In doing that, your diaphragm can push down. It pushes down on your organs, lets your lungs really inflate and deflate. Whereas if you're breathing from here, your lungs can't inflate and deflate properly. So that's another thing. Also, like I said, when you're panicky, all this, and your jaw is all like, you see that? That's how I am when I'm panicking, like that. And actually, when you're panicking, you need to sort of just calm yourself down, unclench your jaw. A lot of the time I have fists when I'm panicking. Let them go. It's okay. And as well, sometimes I really squeeze in my stomach muscles when I'm panicking. Don't need to do that. Nice and calm. And even though in your head you feel like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, doing these things, your brain starts to think, oh, she's relaxed then. No screwing of the forehead. Just sort of as calm as you can be. Another thing, if you can, keep talking. if you have a panic attack, if you're having a panic attack and you keep talking, it regulates your breathing because you can't breathe in while you're talking. Sometimes, and this happens to me a lot of times, especially at work, I used to be walking down a corridor that I always used to have a panic attack in. And I used to sort of be walking down there, and where I'd just done the stairs, I'd already be out of breath, and I'd be like, as I'm walking down there, and I thought, oh, and then I can just feel it. I know the heart's beating. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have a panic attack. That's exactly how I used to go. And then I used to be like, right, let me get to a bathroom so I'm on my own. Actually, no. The minute I started walking down, I'd usually have someone near me who I knew, and I'd be like, hi, how was your day? How was your evening yesterday? Blah, blah. Mind you, I have social anxiety, so that's a big enough thing. Or I'd ring my mum. I'd ring my mum or my friend. And just talking, it's like, it regulates your breathing. And that is very, very true, very helpful. If you do go into a full panic attack, it's important to remember that it will pass. You won't stay in that horrible position. It will go away. And just sort of make sure that the shoulders are relaxed and that you're being as calm as you possibly can. I know it's really, really, really hard. Also, don't be afraid of having a panic attack anywhere. And that used to be a massive thing for me. I used to be like, oh my God, but what if someone sees me? What if all this? Number one, pretty much every person would have had a panic attack at some point in their lives. Whether they know that's a panic attack or not is a different story. Nearly everyone would have had a panic attack at some point in their lives. Number two, it's a lot more common than you think. And I had a panic attack once in Waterloo Station in London, literally flooded with people. I start panicking because I used to work in London, so I used to be going to and from there on my own. I start panicking. I was like, right, okay, let me try and get to this like alley so I can just panic on my own. Thousands of people flooding everywhere. And I was like, no, do you know what? I can't even make it to the alley. So I sat on the bench like this. And I just thought, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Like, I just have to accept it. I'm going to die. Lovely woman came over to me and said, she put her hand on my shoulder, which actually helped so much. She went, I've had one of these before. You know you're going to be okay. I will look after you. Everything will be fine. I cannot tell you how amazing that was that she did that. And I do that now to anyone I see who's having a panic attack. I was going to a West End show once and I saw a girl in the crowd going, and I went over to her. I didn't touch her because I don't want to put your hands on someone's shoulder. Like, it was fine it was lovely that woman did it to me, but I just went over to her and I was like, I have these. I know it's horrible, but you're going to be okay. I promise you. I'm going to look after you. I'm going to stay with you until you're calm. The way that girl's face lit up, that she knew that it was okay and that she was going to be fine, it was fantastic. Another thing is, don't be panicky about where you have them. I've had panic attacks on flights. I've had panic attacks on trains, on tubes, in cabs, in Ubers, in hotels, in work meetings, in literally one-on-one meetings, everywhere, in the middle of the street, sat on a bench in a park, home on my own like I am now. There is not a place that I haven't had a panic attack. Flights are a really good one. I spoke about this before on my channel, but a lot of people are panicky about having anxiety attacks on flights. There are no people more prepared for panic attacks and anxiety attacks than air hostesses, or like the men who are air hostesses too. Are they called air hostesses as well? But literally, they are trained to deal with panic attacks. They have paper bags on board. Like, don't be panicky. There is no other, like, I hate flying. I'm terrified, but I'm getting better at it because I think of it like this. No other transport do you have people there that are just there and specially trained to look after you. You don't get that on a bus. You don't get that on a train. They are there. They are so well trained to deal with panic attacks, to deal with any medical emergency. They have vigorous training, all sorts of disasters. They know where the nearest airport is if they need to land. They know don't panic about it. Like, you are never more looked after. Like, I used to hate hospitals. I used to hate them. Like, I would have a panic attack just going into one. But then someone said to me, yeah, but do you know you're literally the safest place you could be is at hospital. You're full of people that can help you at any time, medically trained. And I've actually thought, do you know what, I'm actually safer at the hospital than I am at home. Like, or that I am at school, like I was at the time. But yeah, please don't be panicking. Well, no, you know, I can't just be like, don't panic, hun, and you don't panic, obviously. But I just want you to know, like, there is so much more support, trust me, from a girl who's had a panic attack everywhere, even on train stations. There's so many lovely guards that I've had to have help from, because I've had a panic attack or whatever. That, like, it's not as scary as you think. So yeah, I just wanted to put this video out there to, number one, anyone who's feeling suicidal. I really hope you see this, and I really hope you reach out to either me or someone, and we can get you the help. It's not the end. Suicide isn't the answer. And I just want to, all you do, if you commit suicide, all you do is pass your pain on to someone else, and that is really all you do. The people who have to deal with it have to deal with your pain in the way of whatever was causing you to be upset. A lot of the time we don't know what was causing you to be upset, so we have to rack our brains trying to think of anything and everything. We feel guilt, we feel, you know, and I'm just so sad to think that there are people out there who don't have anywhere to who feel like they don't have anywhere to turn, because there always is. I know I've been recording this video for like 40 minutes, so if you're still here, I applaud you. But I really want to spread the word. I just want this to go everywhere, and for every single person to see that there is something that we can do to help always, and you will be okay. I promise you that. Trust me, I've been there. Like I say, if you watch my previous video, it's sort of, I go into a bit more detail about how bad my mental health was at one point, really. And yeah, you can do it. I promise you. You are so loved. You are so precious. And I adore you. And come and join my like little community on Instagram, and we all pull together and find what help we can and things. So there is a way out. Suicide isn't the answer, I promise you. If you're having a panic attack, you will be okay again. It can't kill you. You're so brave. Anyone who's watching this is so brave. Like, just really quickly, I've never met more brave like warriors than people who suffer with mental health. You're fighting against your brain every single day, and I could not be prouder of every single one of you, and I really mean that. You're all amazing. And yeah, message me at any time. I love you all so much. Mwah.